Good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. Today is Monday, June 1st, first day of the trading month. Looking forward to getting some profits here with you guys here this morning. Keith, good morning. Early bird. Kind of monitoring a few different moves here on the NQ. Right now, the strongest move that I see is based off of this this move here to the downside that we got at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And the easiest way to take a look at it is if you jump into the 120 range, you can see your downwards movement here. We obviously broke structure. Oh, and you know what? We really didn't break a lot of structure there. Let's take a look at this a little bit higher. So we broke all of this structure up here, but the real down move, yeah, this is going to need a little bit more to go here to be, I would say, like super A+, but still to get out of all of this consolidation with the strong movement down. I do like this area here, and this is, again, from the 120. So the 120 area is unbalanced volume is sitting right here. And then when you jump down to the 60 range, you can kind of, you can obviously sniper this even a little bit better with an entry somewhere around here. So we'll wait for price action to come back up here, and then we'll take a look at the 30 range footprint chart and see what, if we did get some type of nice entry confirmation in this region right here. As far as from things to look out for this morning, we've got key levels at the 35.36, the 415, the 389, and the 328. Obviously, I could see price action wanting to come out of here. Now there is an area here that had a strong movement up, which originated right here. Got a nice little flip right there on this candle right here. So this was a nice movement to the upside here. And if we take it even a little further, so kind of balance this out again. We did balance this right here. Yeah, I just don't like this. I don't like this price action moving from this area right here, so I'm not going to mark that one off. Didn't have the impulsive nature that I'm really liking on the charts. And then a little bit lower, we do have an area of unbalanced volume from buyers sitting down here. And thought I had these kind of labeled out. Sorry, let me see if I can get this right here. There we go. All right, now we got that one labeled out, and then we can kind of see where, let's see where that originated from. That's actually that's too far on my chart to show you guys on here, because I only got 3 days on the footprint there. But if we go to the chart, let's see. All right, let's take a look and see this movement here out of this area. Yeah, so we had a Pretty strong movement out of here, an area of consolidation that had a really nice strong movement to the upside, broke structure here. This is Friday morning. And if we take a look at the ES, so the ES finally just tapped into one of our key levels here at the 76.11. And I say finally, but it was actually been hanging around at this level here for good part of the morning, overnight. Another key level at the 75.95, 75.90, and the 75.87. Another key level at the 75.72. And then we've got some buyer unbalanced volume sitting here as well on the ES. And then in gold, we've got an area of buyer unbalanced volume sitting down here at the 45.14 to the 45.07. And above us, we've got an area here at the 46.60 down to the 46.53 of seller unbalanced volume. And then again, below us, we've got these levels that we've been marking out, the 44.73 to the 44.62. And a really strong level down here at the 44.20 to the 44.09. Morning, Joe. Morning, Keith. Jay Lives, good morning. Again, getting some pretty strong price action here to the downside, so I'll keep monitoring this one now here. We'll see if how this reacts here at this next key level that we're going to get to at the 34.15. And on the ES, we've got the same scenario here. I was eyeing this out this morning. In fact, I believe I gave this one as a band. Let me take a look. Yeah. So if you take a look at the bands that I gave this morning, we do have an area of buyer unbalanced volume sitting right here from the 75.68 to the 75.51. So that does correlate pretty well with this band right here. Now, we do have a lot of interest over here. We've got a lot of key levels sitting in this band, which is the only reason that, for me, a little bit tough to take this trade. You know, if we can get a bounce off of one of these two levels, you know, I think it's it'll look a little bit better. And if we try to narrow it down just a little bit more, let's see which where the strong movement came out of here. Yeah, see they balance this out pretty good. Balance all this out pretty well. I would say your strongest move is probably right here. But again, doesn't really leave you much doesn't leave you with much space here for TPs. It's a little iffy on this one. Let's see the base of that move. Right here. Yeah, you could see where, you can obviously see where buyers really stepped in just on the wicks now of these candles. That's what I was trying to tell you guys on Fridays, kind of look for the context. I mean, I see it very easily on the footprint, but if you take a look at it on the candles, you can see that this is where a lot of the buying pressure really came from. So in my opinion, your best trade is going to come from this region right here on the ES. $75.89 to the $75.85. Again, we got to get there though. See the reaction right there at the level at the 34.15. MKC, good morning. right, so it looks like we're almost completing here a leg of the AVT here. So we'll kind of map this out and see what type of trading opportunity, if any, comes up from here. I am on increased position size, so you know, P&L is going to be a little bit different than previous month. And I'm on a few more, not a few, a good amount of all fundeds. So one thing to note, which we'll see on the candlestick, and this is kind of what I teach in my masterclass. These are some of the nuances that I see in the market as well. So you can see here, strong, you know, buyers were pushing with positive delta. We had here a down footprint candle. Okay, so as much as the buyers were trying to push this market up, we still closed down. We got another flip right here. Okay, so again, positive delta. We had a red footprint candle. Now that is, if we took a look at this area, this region, okay, that's twice now that the sellers have really had to try extremely hard to break down the buyers in this exact area. So when I say unbalanced volume, yes, we have some unbalanced volume sitting here, but is not as strong as when it was originally the volume was building up right here. So we've kind of exhausted this area here of unbalanced volume. Now we will take a look and see if there's any type of sniper entry that we can possibly find in this area. But in my opinion, this has already been tapped into, this volume has already been tapped into 3 times. So we're kind of maybe overextending our welcome here in this as a short right here, where this area up here that I marked out is what I would consider to be an A+ grade type of trade, because this is completely unbalanced. Nothing has tapped into to this area as of yet. And the reason I have this gold line here is that this is the value area high. So this would be one area of TP, depending on where we get our entry back up here. So if we take a look at this leg would look something like this. Our unbalanced volume is sitting right here, that we've already pretty much just tapped right into already. And on in our sniper area, let me just move this down just a bit, right here, right here, and then we'll make this purple. Okay, So like your best entry here would be in this purple shaded area that I'll put a line here for you. Nope. So about from the 3480s to the 3503s. That's what I see as the best. And then as far as TPs are concerned, your safest TP is again right back to value area. Well, you really have this down here, which is pretty aggressive. Here would be a much more conservative target. Now, because we're looking for a trade in this area, we would normally be looking for a short right here. But as I explained with what I kind of don't like of this model on this trade, you know, this could be a very nice risk to reward trade from up here to down here. So you might be risking 10 points, 11 points to possibly make 50. You know, that's a nice trade. So I'm going to take this guy off. And then we'll jump down to the 30. And then we'll stay right here on the 30 and see if we get price action going up into that purple shaded area. And we'll see if we can find a trade here this morning. Again, we do have the possibility here, obviously, of missing the move where, you know, you can go, price action can kind of leave without us. But this genuinely is the strongest area in this region that I see. And that's why you've seen me in the past go back here, as I was stating, that this could be a possible entry right here. This is maybe where you take 1 micro, okay? And then if we do tap into the stronger area, this could be one area where you add 1 more micro. And again, it's not adding, we're not trying to add to a losing trade, which I know that's, you know, everybody tells you not to do that. That's not really the purpose of this, is that we're trying to get filled at a good price. We're trying to get filled in at the absolute best price. An entry here is a much bigger range type of entry, as this is our unbalanced volume here. So, you know, we're trying to maybe not necessarily miss the best move. This is if you're scaled down pretty well, or position size down pretty well. If you're going in with a bigger position size and you're really looking for your best entries that you can possibly afford with your position size, you know, this is a much better area. We're looking at 20 points here 23 points of stop, and that's with the limit order. And if you're going in with a footprint candle, a 30 range, you might get your entry over here. You might get your entry over here because we could just tap right in, which we see a lot. But that's okay. If we tap in right here, the distance from here to here is pretty reasonable for a really nice risk to reward trade. And if you do get the flip, you can, of course, bring down your stop from here. You can bring it down. Now, are you going to get stopped out sometimes? Yes. But remember, your stop is only going to be 8 to 10 points on the 30 range. So if this area is already 23 points, okay, you can afford to even take 2 entries in this area. If for some reason price action comes, taps you out, and then goes again and gives you another signal right there, fine. I mean, that's, let's just say worst case scenario, you're at 20 points of stop between those 2 trades. It's still within this 23 stop, stop limit. And yeah, so JLF said great video yesterday on the levels. I highly encourage you guys to watch the Sunday videos that I give you guys. I want to, let's see here. Let's pop this guy in over here. If you guys watch the Sunday video that I posted yesterday, kind of gives you guys, I go through how they've reacted from the last video. Every single weekly band that I had given you guys from the previous video, every single band had a reaction of a minimum of 200 points to the upside. And we're looking at these bands are generally going to be what is this, 40, about 65 points. So I mean, even if you were to take a micro with a limit order on these bands, 2-to-1 risk to reward, 3-to-1 risk to reward, this is a great, now granted there's not a lot of these trades, so if you're looking to trade maybe 2 or 3 times per week with a bigger position size, with a really good win rate and a very good risk to reward, the weekly bands are it's a very good strategy because it's brainless. There's not much more to it. And then I would say that the scalping levels that I give you guys, those are equally as strong. Equally as strong. And again, I'm not surprised by the reaction that we see here. Again, this is the area of the higher time frame, unbalanced volume area. So the reaction we're seeing here, we are seeing a flip. So these are all really good signs of a short, probably to the downside, breaking this key level at the 34.15. But we'll see. We'll stay patient and see what kind of trades we can And then, you know, just to give you guys some added sauce here, if we were to get if we were to get price action, you know, to eventually move into our volume area, you know, we've got a target right here of the 34.23. The way that I look at TPs is what area is going to have the least amount of resistance to tap into in a highly reactionary area. So if we were to get a strong movement up here, right, into this seller unbalanced volume area that we're looking to possibly take a short from, an area where you're going to see resistance is going to still be right here, because this is still unbalanced. They have not tapped in. This is point of control sitting down here, and all of this is value area low sitting right here. So, or actually it's right here. It's a really smidgen. So you've got volume here, you've got volume here, you've got unbalanced volume sitting right here. So again, a very little resistance is a TP sitting right here, right back to this area. You've got the point of control that's obviously going to be an area that the market's going to want to balance out. And that's how I also, you know, that's how I come up with my TPs. When you hear me say, you know, if we're in a trade and we're going to say, okay, we're going to start to see resistance. Yes, I am looking at Bookmap, but I don't even have Bookmap up right now. But I could tell you that when price action comes back down here, it's going to have a, this is going to be the trouble spot of it. So your swiftest and cleanest move is going to be from here down to like right there. And that is close to 45 points, which is more than enough for a good scalp, with the possibility of maybe a 10-point stop loss, depending on, you know, what type of entry we get. Worst case scenario would be 23 points, but still, that's a nice 1 to 2 risk to reward, or it could be a 1 to 4. And, you know, what we were kind of just talking about, remember I said, this is the area right here that is currently unbalanced, right? We saw that on the footprint. You know, again, if you want to get context on the candles, which I am a big fan of, you could see right here, buyers obviously stepped in. Buyers definitely stepped in right here. So that's why I'm saying this is where your fight's going to happen, right smackaroony right there. So if you want to take your TP out a little bit sooner than that, easy. Okay, so right here, you know, I'm finger on the trigger, ready for a possible short, because we are entering into this area here of unbalanced volume, which I think is the highest probability play here out of this leg. Of course, I would like to have seen just a little bit more of a kind of a retracement into here, but as of right now, negative deltas increased here, so this is not a flip. Good morning, Todd. And if you guys already saw my analysis on this trade, this here is what I would consider to be probably like a B setup. So this is not A plus, just because of the amount of times that we've tapped into this area where it's possible that sellers' welcome is kind of overextended here in comparison to this zone that we've got marked up here. Super strong area. On the ES, one thing to just be careful about there, Jay Loves, is that you've got the 97s right down here. This is all unbalanced from buyers. And market's going to want to eventually, I don't know when, but eventually the market's going to want to gravitate right to this area right there. Now we are in an uptrend, so I mean, you're not super fighting it, but the most recent move is obviously to the downside with some break of structure here. So you can see as we tapped into this purple, what did Delta do? You can already see the absorption here of the higher volume. This is the area that is going to give you, you know, that high unbalanced volume area, and there's no surprise why you see Delta increase threefold there. I'm gonna take a quick stab short here. Again, not the greatest zone right here. I have a pretty strong stop out probability here, but let's see, and let's go down to the NQ. Let's bring this guy down to here, and we'll see if we can. Let's see if we can get a move here. So risking about 10 points on this trade. Target right now is set at the 54s, and if we want to get even a little bit more conservative on our target, probably target right here around the 40. You make that a 1 to 4. And as we came up pretty high in this area right here, this is the only setup, the only chance that I'll give it is going to be sitting right here for this trade. If not, I'll keep my bullets for a higher probability setup down the road. I'd like to see a power candle, like, you know, somewhere into this area right here would be a really good sign. I'm going to keep this 10 points of risk on, though. Morning, Adam. Just make sure that we've got this, yeah, we're in a very safe TP zone right there. All right, let's let the trade, let the trade work. All right, so I put my stop there, securing 20 points at least on this trade, which is 2 times my risk. All right, got knocked out there. ATR is still pretty low. It's around 13, so volatility is not super strong right now. So if you can get a 2-to-1 on a trade pre-session, I say go for it. With still the probability of, you know, obviously going to full take profit. You know, you get one more strong candle to the downside, and okay, yeah, I think taking TP there might have been actually a decent idea. This would be the best target right here is the point of control. The market's going to want to probably rebalance that out. But as I showed you already, where they left unbalanced volume, they've got this little sliver right here. So this is where I think the resistance is obviously going to come. So you've got, this is where I had my TP set right there, which was, I think was at 40 points. And the nice thing about, you know, I'd really love to secure the 1 to 4. Trust me, I mean, I really would like to hold this all the way down to my TP. But pre-session, as volatility is pretty low, ATR on the 2-minute, which is the time frame that I'm currently on, is hovering right around 13 points. So for us to take 20 there, risking 10, I think is a pretty safe move. The nice thing too now is that now we've got really 20 points of profit now to work with. So if we are able to retrace back into this A+ setup that we've got here for seller unbalanced volume, and again, if we've got a risk, even if I got to take 2 trades in this area right here, which I hope I don't need to, but if I do, I'm pretty much just risking the profits of the morning. I'm not risking any of my original capital of the day here. And you'll see me hit these 40 pointers as well, you know, and in those scenarios, you know, when you've got yourself a 1 to 4, you know, now you've got bullets for a lot more setups this way as well. So it's a pretty good risk management system as well. And it's one way to try to capitalize on your funded accounts, especially like me. I've got intraday trailing drawdown on all of these. I would say on all of my Apex have intraday trailing drawdown. So now that where I'm at in my profit journey on those, that's a real thing for me. So it's something that, you know, if you're in 30, 40 points of profit, you definitely want to be securing some profits as well. That is the one kind of negative, is that when you on the intraday trailing drawdown, you know, when you start getting, when you're past your trailing drawdown, yeah, you've got room, but you also have the intraday that you're dealing with. So if you've got 40 points in profit and it comes all the way back to your break even, that 40 points of profit is being counted against me. Or if it comes back to your stop, it's the profit, and on top of that, the stop as well. So it takes a little bit more management, which is, you know, why the reason that the end of day trailing drawdown is, by all regards, is the superior model. We got news this morning, so we got 8:45. I think it starts with S&P, PMI, and then ISM at 9 a.m. Or I might have flipped that around. I don't think I did. S&P manufacturing at 8:45, and then at 9 is ISM manufacturing, PMI at 9 a.m. And my guess, I haven't looked at oil this morning here, but I'm going to assume that oil is probably dropping. There's been some positive headlines in regards to the Hormuz Strait, so I would anticipate oil is probably slided pretty good. Crude oil. Yep. So crude oil right now is trading at about 89. And it was trading this morning at the 91s. So, yeah. There you go. So that would have been TP right there on the bigger move. But again, we talked this whole entire setup from the get-go, where the best possible zone was going to be at, why it was the best possible zone. What I didn't like about the trade, as you can see, this area has now really rejected 3 times, and now this would have been the 4th time. So that was one thing I didn't like as much, but still proved to be a very strong band area here. And you can see where the rejection is. I mean, we talked about this as well. Where are you going to see the rejection, where it's going to get hard to get these final few points? I told you guys it's going to be in this box. You can see it represented right here extremely well. And that's exactly where we bounced off from. That's why I had my TP sitting like right there. So I said the least amount of resistance for TP. And you can see that again on the footprint. Where did it go? Oh, right here. Oh, you know what? I think you could see it better here. You can see it really good right here. It's the same spot. It's the exact same spot that we were just showing you on the candlestick. So, I mean, you can get really good confluence, like, you know, if you go from the 120 down to the 60 range, but don't lose sight of the candlestick architecture as well, because that'll give you clues as well that sometimes you can't even see on the footprint. So, you know, to me, this is a clear sign that buyers stepped in right here as well. But I didn't even see this candle. I found it on the footprint. I found it on the footprint that this is where I'm going to see resistance in my trade. And that's exactly where they bounced almost 20 points back to the upside. Meaning, you know, TP here, which would have been 40 points, should have doubled my profit there. I get it. You know, I would have preferred, again, I would have preferred if I would have gotten a volume bubble, if it would have come up somewhere in these candles here that I can protect above that just to stay in that move. That's awesome. I mean, that's great if you get that. I got the bubble right here, and it was actually not the greatest bubble. That's, to me, is a sign of exhaustion a little bit here. So, you know, I actually thought that my taking that 20 points was decent. I knew that there's still a good chance of hitting this TP here, but with ATR so low, already at a 2-to-1 on the trade, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button on the stream, I would truly appreciate it. Okay, now we need to investigate this candle here and see what was the cause there. Let's see if there was any type of news. So the last piece of headlines that I saw was Iran's president saying that Japan ships can passage to the Hormuz Strait, but that was about 25 minutes ago. So we'll see if any new headlines come out here or not. Now after this 2-minute candle finishes up, and then we can see how much weight we can put on this candle. Because the one thing you also want to be careful about is that, everything starts to look really nice on the 120. The 120 starts to look really, really strong. A little bit of an overextended move now. And, for me, now, how many times do we go into the same well here? Because now your unbalanced volume sitting right here. This would be the 5th time into this well. Not saying it can't happen, but it definitely starts to diminish. So let's get rid of this guy. I gotta take him off here. Get rid of this guy. This, and this. I still don't see anything coming out on my news service yet. Oh yeah, there it goes. So Iran stops message exchange with the U.S. in protests against Zionist crimes. There you go. So now we know that this movement here was headline based, right? Are we gonna put a lot of weight onto this move? No. And again, this is just the unfortunate nature of the markets that we're currently in. If you're trying to take a long from one of these key levels, you get destroyed. If we had unbalanced volume sitting right here, now granted, if we were on the footprint chart as a confirmation, you do avoid this, which is great. But sometimes it's even unavoidable because you might get a quick spike on very low volume, and you might get a flip to the positive side. You might jump right in. Now, granted, I wouldn't. I mean, I already knew once I saw this candle here, there was really nothing here that was telling me that we're going to have a strong move to the downside right here. So automatically my radar went to, okay, what was the news that, what news hit here? And, I'm on probably a 1.5, 2-minute delay. So I said, let's wait for this candle to finish, and then we'll keep monitoring the headlines. And at 8:12, Iran stops message exchange with the U.S. in protest. So, but it also helps me to understand that I'm not going to put a lot of weight on volume right here. This was an easy place for the market to go because they have volatility here. There's people looking to trade these key levels right here. Again, here's a good example here. These are daily bands. These are not my weekly bands. Weekly bands still we haven't tapped into here on the NQ, which is sitting down here at the 31.25. But my daily bands, this is exactly where price action dipped into on that headline news. So, and again, I say there's only three things that are going to get you through these bands, especially my weekly bands. It's going to be headline news, high impact news scheduled, or multiple retaps into the same band. Now we didn't have a level here, okay, so this had a little bit less diminished value. This one's definitely stronger here at the 31.54 to the 31.21. But again, if you watch the video from that I did yesterday, I showed you guys the results of all of the bands that we've had in the last 2 weeks, and all of these bands were at the very minimum, we're getting 200-point rejections off of the band with very little drawdown, in fact. So as I stated early this morning, you know, if you want to trade 3-4 times a week with the ES and the NQ off of the weekly bands, you could always target 1 to 2. Just set a limit order at the top of your band, stop order at the bottom of your band. Again, the only risk that you run is a piece of headline news that comes out, and you know there's not much that we can do to avoid that based on the market condition that we're in. But these weekly bands are very, 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 very hard to get through. And on the ES, I believe we're getting close to 1. Yep. The ES, we've got one here at the 75.58 to the 75.05. This is that bigger, this is that weekly band that I was just talking about, sitting right here in this gold. AVT DK. All right, 6 minutes to market open here. Again, we're not going to get fooled by this move right here, right? So it does look really appetizing. That moves right here. That looks extremely appetizing for a setup. We're not going to put a lot of weight on that because this was all that headline news that just occurred. Very inefficient volume distribution here. All right, 5 minutes to market open. Be right back. All right, about 10 seconds here for market to open. So let's see if they retrace this headline news move that they did up here or not. Again, we're not putting weight on this dump to the downside here as much as I would in a normal, just in a normal course of market conditions. And the ATR is artificially a little bit higher right now, just based on this 130-point move on these two candles alone right here. Obviously, ATRs don't always start increasing at the market open, but it's a little artificially high right now because of these two bigger moves. So, like, what do we got upcoming? We've got what I would consider to be like a A+ type of zone right up here at the 30,592 to the 31,571. So again, we'll look for some type of order confirmation if we can get back up in there, and then otherwise we'll kind of see how price action develops here. This was all inefficiency in the market right here, so the market's going to probably want to retrace this right here. This was a lot of that headline news that just came out about the Strait. All right, I should say Iran. So as I anticipated, they did retrace all of this headline news that just came out. Again, I don't necessarily love this AVT setup here just yet. My unbalanced volume, if we take a look at it from volume standpoint, okay, your unbalanced volume here is sitting right here. This has already been balanced out right here. Okay, so if we remove this, or you know what, instead of removing it, let's go jump down to the 60. And let's bring this guy a little bit closer to price action right here. What we'd be looking at for the unbalanced volume would be sitting right here. Would be sitting right here. I'll do this in purple. And you can see the movement out of here was not super strong. Okay, so this base move right here was not super strong. And they balanced out already this purple right here as well. So you really only have a small sliver like down here. In fact, no, not even that. I mean, really your smallest slivers like are sitting right down here of like truly unbalanced volume. So again, not an area that I'm interested in. And it correlates to the opening, to that opening move. First 5-10 minutes of the market can get a little squirrely. So let's see if we can find some fresh levels. Really, the only thing right now that I see that I don't know where my marker went, but I had a label over here. It's probably because I jumped down to the 1 minute, so it's going to be moving around too much. I really wish that I could label these regions. It would make my life with you guys a lot easier. I mean, I know what they are, but it's nice to visually see what's what. No worries, J-Lo. You know, one thing I always teach in my masterclass on price action is your impulsive nature of the move. Okay, so like we know that this was impulsive here. Okay, but this was all headline driven. Okay, so I'm not putting any weight on this. In fact, we retraced all of that, which is exactly what I said we would do. So I don't put weight on this. Now, if we were to get this move in regular market conditions, all day long, I'm looking at right here for a retracement back onto that move for sure. But we don't get that here. So this move that we've got right here from the opening bell, as you guys can see, is nicely stepped up, right? Now, when they step up like this really nicely, you start to see big wicks, big wicks, big wicks. And what these wicks really represent, the way how I see the market, is balancing of volume. Okay, they had an inefficiency already here in the market that they had to work with. They did a really good job of that. They've cleared all of that out. So now I'm really looking for the next big impulsive move like this. Great start. Okay, great start to a move. But did it go anywhere? No. Unbalanced volume is obviously sitting in this area right here, and they weren't able to penetrate that on this move. So for me, just looking at the candlesticks, I know that there's nothing here that I really am interested in. Now, if I jump down to the 120, it's going to represent somewhere right around here, okay? And again, this is just all busy consolidation work. It's easier to see on the footprint. I could see it on the candle. I don't need the footprint. I don't need the candle on the footprint, vice versa. But if you've got both, you can really increase your kind of the context of what you're really trying to look at. And you just got to stay patient. You got to stay patient in the market. The market starts ranging all day. Great. You know, we could still capture some moves on the range. When you start to see a range forming, then the easiest solution to that is to jump to the 60 range. Do the exact same AVT strategy I've been teaching you guys on the 60 range, and you'll start to capture some really nice moves. If you want to capture, you know, 20-point TPs, 30-point TPs with 10 points of risk, 60 is a great place to live in as well. And as you guys see it, I break it down from top all the way down to the bottom, with my entry being all the way at the bottom. Just take a look and see what the ES is doing here. So the ES is just kind of playing around in the key level area. I wouldn't be surprised if the ES churns through some of this here as well, probably down to like right around here. And then we've got this weekly band here with a lot of buying support, a lot of volume sitting right here, and it's all with buyers. Sorry about that. My father-in-law is staying with us, and his ringtone is just so damn loud. So it was ringing nonstop. So I muted my mic so you guys wouldn't hear it, but forgot to put it on there. But yeah, as I was stating, was able the best scenario that I currently see in the market is this seller unbalanced volume area sitting at the 35.92 to the 35.71 area for a possible short. Currently the market has taken care of this move pretty well. It's balanced out all of these moves here, as I explained to you earlier. A lot of these wicks here are very indicative of a kind of a balanced market, especially when we start to kind of range. The market also took care of all of this inefficiency here on the headline news that had come out, which I thought it would. And then the setup that I took earlier this morning, started the stream at 7 and got a setup here at about 7:45. Ended up taking a short here for a little over 20 points. Trailed my stop into 20 points of profit. My TP was sitting right here at 40 points, which I would have gotten. But this setup here was probably about a B. I said it was about a B before we got into this setup here, just because of the fact that we had previously balanced out this market 3 or 4 times. I showed you guys where the flips were at every single time. So I kind of didn't want to overextend the welcome of the sellers right here, but still was able to capture a nice little trade there in the early morning. And in the ES, I wouldn't be surprised if we balance this out right here as well. We do have a very strong weekly level down here. This is all buyer controlled volume. This is going to be extremely hard for the market to get through unless, again, headline news, high impact news, or multiple retaps into the same band. It's really the only thing that can get you through there. Yeah, Todd, and I think another issue with the computer market, memory market, like I spoke about 2 weeks ago, is these data centers are just absolutely just swallowing everything that they can get their hands on. So the cost of memory, the cost of RAM has absolutely skyrocketed like tenfold. Now, granted, like your retail PC market, like the laptops and PCs, you know, those are not in demand from a data point center. It's going to be more like your blade servers and things like that are going to be more in demand. But yeah, based on what you're saying, if their pre-tariff supply is depleted, you know, and now we're going to see introduce post-tariff equipment into the market, then yeah, we'll see a price increase, and unfortunately that's not going to help with inflation. Very part also, Todd, to think about is the fact that they took, what has it been now, a year of the tariffs probably, I would assume, almost a year. I think it was July last year that the tariff war really heated up, and we're already in June. So the fact that it took them a year to go through inventory, that's not even a good sign either. Because it would probably take another year to get rid of post-tariff supply if anything was to, you know, get better. Hmm. Okay, here's the 9 a.m. news headline. And we could see the reaction. This was pretty much where we had marked off that unbalanced volume area. So not surprising. But also not very reliable as well. A lot of this has been balanced out extremely well. So we'll see if we can break structure down here, and we'll start to look to see where we can maybe take some shorting opportunities here. You know, this leg right here, super overextended, right? And also, as you can see on the way down, very balanced. Okay, this is not impulsive by any means. I mean, it was a big move, but this was a decent move right here. But all this has been balanced out extremely well. So all this volume to the downside is, in how I see a volume, has been balanced out extremely well. So now we'll be looking for hopefully some fresh price action, maybe some price discovery to the downside, and see what the market wants to do here. And then we're not going to get fooled either by this AVT setup right here on the ES. Okay, I love it. Trust me, this looks phenomenal, and that's what your eyes can always get married to beautiful setups, but you have to understand the context. This was the headline news that came out that created this move to the downside. So again, on very little volume. Very inefficient movement of market here. So again, not the greatest probability that we do get a reaction up here. To say it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. And then if we kind of break this down even a little bit further, that move, if we take a look at it here, where we can find where the best entry, in my opinion, would be right here. This is where I would see that move happening. And you've got some things that are working against you here. So one, you've got a key level sitting above you at the 76.11 that it will act as a magnet for price action to come back up and possibly stop you out. Again, this move was news, so we've got that to worry about as well. And we'll keep it up there just so we can see what price action does when we come back up to that area. Morning, Paul. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Todd. We just had a graduation party for both of my kids, my 8th grader and my high schooler that's going to college on Saturday. And they obviously got a pretty good amount of money, pretty good amount of graduation gifts. Probably had about 80 friends, family come through the house on Saturday. And so my son's been obviously trying to upgrade his PC, but like he's just like, Dad, the prices of what I want, it's like it's not even attainable right now. So he's got to get a few more payouts before he upgrades his machine. He wants to upgrade before he moves to college. I told him the best thing is just to get a gaming laptop with some pretty good specs. Might be the easiest thing that he wants, but he's just so married to a desktop. Okay, what are we seeing over here? Obviously a lot of volume coming right back in. This was the unbalanced volume area. This was the 830, the New York Open right here. So again, just an area that I didn't want to put a lot of weight on, as the market has been pretty damn efficient here. But we'll see. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got super lucky. I mean, I built my PC down here in November of last year. It was literally, I think, maybe a month or two before the prices just went bananas. I didn't really know. I mean, my son is the one that told me about the pricing because he's the one that's been looking to try to upgrade a few things on his PC. So he told me, he's like, Dad, if you were to part out your PC, you'd probably make 4 times the money that you spent on it. So I guess sometimes the timing works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. AP, it will work on it'll work on the candles, the AVT setup. I personally would much rather you run the AVT on a range-based system, so a footprint or a range chart. It's going to be, you'll see the moves much easier. You'll see the break of structure much easier. You'll see the impulsive move much easier. It just it really eliminates a lot of noise. And again, I don't really have an area here to short from necessarily just yet. This is a super overextended move, very efficient price action on the way down. Nothing really impulsive nature on there. Nothing really left unbalanced, not even up here. So don't really have a great shorting opportunity until we can get up here to the 3571s. Unless something comes before that. And if we kind of get stuck in a range here, you know, that's one opportunity that you have to jump down to a lower range like the 60 and, you know, find some scalping opportunities. Now, when you're scalping off the 60, it's probably super beneficial to have like a 20 range entry because your confirmation on your 30, it's going to eat up 7 to 9 points of your profit unless you get it, you know, deep in the zone. So a 20 is, you know, I traded the NQ with a 20 range entry chart for over a year, and it was fantastic. But again, those were 14-point take profits, 18-point take profits. You really need to be nimble on a lower range so that, you know, when you get that tap and go, which is so, which shows up so many times on my trades, you know, I'm already 5 points into my profit zone where then I'm taking my entry. So I've kind of missed out on those 5 points or 7 on the 30. So just kind of understand that. That's weird. I got a chat disconnected. Please wait to try to reconnect you. Successfully connected. Okay, that's strange. I've never seen that message before in my chat. Yeah, this is all pretty garbagey price action right now. So again, I think the footprint chart makes you see it much clearer. At least it does to me. I mean, I guess this looks kind of garbagey too, but maybe not as bad. All right, we got about 18 minutes for initial balance to be set, 17 minutes for initial balance to be set. I mean, ATR is pretty healthy at 40, almost 41 points here. But just not really seeing, not really seeing just a range develop here so far. Be right back, guys. All right, I'm back. All right, so NQ is pretty much hanging around in these 3 key levels. ES is doing the exact same thing. It's pretty much hanging around these 3 key levels here. Not much to trade from right now. You know, extremes right now again would still be that 35.71 that I'll be looking for. In 9 minutes, we'll have an initial balance set, which looks like it's going to be pretty much this range right here. Yeah, nothing good here yet. Kind of hoping we get a nice little continuation movement here. See if we can break some of this structure up here. But I think the market makers are pretty happy with this type of price action right now. For those of you traders on prop, Apex's sale that they announced ends on Wednesday. And I guess the key points of their new sale is you've got the option now to bundle up to 5 evals at one purchase, which does save a little bit of time. It was kind of annoying before. I haven't had to go through that process in a long time, but I am looking to purchase a 5-pack of 50K end of day evaluations. And so now they've got sales if you buy in bulk, where if you purchase, let's just talk about the end of day evaluations first. The 50K account, which is their new accounts. I'm still on their legacy accounts, which is their intraday drawdown. But their end of day drawdown, their 50K accounts, if you were to purchase just a single account, it's discounted to $45. If you take a 5-pack standard, it's $195, so that drops the price down. The PA fee is $99 per account, so you'd be looking at an all-in let's see what that comes out to. 195 divided by 5 is $39 plus 99. So you're looking at $138 for an end of day trailing drawdown if you do buy their 5-pack bundle. You can also purchase the option of a 5-pack with no... Oh, actually, no, you can't do the no activation fee. So single with no activation fee, you can pay. Oh no, 50 you can. I'm sorry, I was looking at the 150K. The 50K, the 5-pack, no PA activation is $445. So at $445 divided by 5, it's $89 an account, and that's all in, which is the one that I'm going to choose to go through. Because it does lower my cost of my overall costs. And again, that's the best option if you don't have issues passing your evaluations. So if you've got an issue passing evaluations, it might be better just to go with the 5-pack standard. And then if we go look at their legacy accounts, their legacy single standard right now is $24.90, which is pretty discounted. Their 5-pack standard, which even discounts it to more, you can get 5 standard accounts now for $95, which I believe comes out to about $19. 95 divided by 5 is $19. So again, that's pretty much the lowest that you'll ever find an Apex eval at. And then you can also do the single with no PA activation for $79, which is again a really good deal. That's what I think that's how much I spent on the 20 that I had bought back in like November, because they had a really good promotion with a set PA fee of like $49 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was pretty low. You obviously can trade gold. So gold and silver are back, both on the mini and micro contracts. So I know people were, including myself, were complaining about that. And then if you want to look at the completely other spectrum of the prop world, I do think that Lucid is I think they're taking a big market share out right now. They definitely got a product that people are very interested in. I think people were very interested into Top Step originally. I think once Top Step made the choice of taking away Trade of 8 Ninja Trader platform, for me it's a huge issue. I don't like the fact of going into 2 different platforms to trade. Granted, I think if I was strictly on Top Step X, I wouldn't have the footprints. I wouldn't have a lot of the tools that I also have on Ninja Trader. And Lucid just really came in and completely filled in that void that I think that the prop space had. No monthly billing, take as long as you want. No consistency in funded. 5 minimum days of $150. Then you could take up to 50% of your to a cap. Not much to do here with this market here today. Let's see what the IB looks like here today. Should be sitting right on top of our range here. You know, and without even looking at it, I can say that we probably rejected here right at our unbalanced volume. I mean, not rejected in a standpoint of, you know, a huge move to the downside, but definitely where they had a problem just based off of what I see already on the wicks. So if we go back to what we had originally talked about on that overextended move to the downside, which occurred here. Actually, I don't think we've even gotten up to that portion of it here just yet. Let's see. No, we still haven't hit to that top part yet. Again, I don't like that one as much. Let's see what this move right here. So that's where we're gonna kind of get hung up right there. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing there to me that looks sustainable. That's all been really efficiently balanced out. So I think the market's just right now just in a range, and we just got to treat it that way. So far, so good. Morning, Key. Super busy. 2 graduates had a graduation on Saturday, graduation party here at my house with over 80 friends and family that came through the house. So it was pretty exhausting weekend, pretty exhausting Thursday, Friday leading into it as well. Thank you. Meeting went well. Looked like a pretty good morning of trading, but then when I came back to look at the chart, it's again just a few headline news that came and hit that, you know, I think would have been probably a little unfortunate. We already had our share of headline news here already this morning. The market pretty much absorbed very quickly. ATR on the 2 minutes down to about 36. Yeah, but it's getting a little tricky here because we're just in a really super balanced area based on price action earlier. Earlier, the levels would have been fantastic, but right now, it's a super tricky spot. You've got, you know, exhaustion up here from buyers. Can't really sustain. The sellers can't sustain. Buyers kind of pushing back in. This is now starting to get pretty. Again, I think at this point, you know, your extremes are going to be where you could find some of your better trades. Yeah, I'm super happy we were able to capitalize at least on a nice trade here this morning. Could have probably gotten a little bit more out of that one, but still super happy with it. Hey, thanks, Key. Key just bought 5 new Apex accounts using Trader Rob codes. I will be doing the same thing tonight. Not with my code, unfortunately, but I will be doing the same thing tonight. Did you go with intraday or end of day? I'm gonna assume end of day, but I'm just curious. All right, so that's the first real price action that we've had. Let's see if it's sustainable here by buyers. Intraday, okay. I was listening to trade Patrick Wheeling and he was losing and he said, I'm going to buy more accounts and use my code. As a result, I'm a winner. I don't know how he can do that. I can't use my code on any of the firms. My code does not work. I will say, Patrick Wheeling does get credit for all of my... Well, whenever I've bought an eval in the past, he's the one that gets the credit for it. It's just the code that I've always... It's always kind of stuck. And that was probably from 3 years ago. All right, let's see if we get some price action here to test the IB high. But I'm assuming that, you know, he's just in a different stratosphere, so he probably has different terms that's able to use. He's probably able to use his own code for his evals and stuff like that. But I've also only purchased about 20, maybe 21 with the 300K eval that I had to buy for the groups. I would say 30, I would say 20, maybe max 21 evals in the last, with Apex with it in the last at least 6 to 7 months. So I don't know, he probably made 25 bucks, 20 bucks. Because they were super cheap. I think they were like 19 bucks each. And I should know this, but I really don't. I don't even know if we get credit if you spend money on a PA activation. I don't think you do. But I don't know, to be honest with you. Probably should know that, but I don't. Pretty tough price action here. I've never watched any of their content. So the most stuff that I watch content-wise on YouTube, it would have to be like the podcasts with like the Wisdom guy. You know, any video that comes out with Fabio, I'm pretty I enjoy that content a lot. Who else? Trades by Matt. It's always, I think I subscribed to his channel a long time ago when I first started trading, and he pops up on my stream now and then. He seems a lot more, I don't know, a lot more genuine, less drama filled. Yeah, base hits. Yeah, he's big on that. He is incredible. I think the best video I watched of him was with him and Carmine. They did a New York Open. They traded for about 2 hours side by side, split screen, both order flow traders. I think it was the best 3 hours of content on YouTube as far as the trading space is concerned. You know, a perfect example of a trade that he would identify would be right here, which we'll take a look and see if this was even a flip or not. But you know, you've got an area of a key level area, obviously. You see that the buyers got absorbed here really well. They got exhausted up here. End up taking a short. He probably would put a limit order right here as we close down here. Probably take a limit order right here, take a limit order right here, cover his positions right here, and then would look to see if they can break down on this area right here. And we probably go to break even probably somewhere around this candle right here. You'd be going break even. Would have been stopped out on this trade. And that's what I saw a lot on, you know, 3 hours. He took probably about 7 trades. Carmine didn't take any. In fact, the commentary between the both of them was hysterical. And a lot of the trades, you know, on his side were break even. He had some losses. He had some good winners. But and then what I wanted to see is, let's see, 936. Let's see if that was a flip or not. 936. On how I would see this here, even though that wouldn't be super key level for me right up there. 936. Let's see, it would have been, I think it would have been this right here. No flip there. Yeah. I don't see any flips in this area. We do get a flip right here, but not. It would have been. This is where. This is probably where the volume bubble hit right here. Trader. Gosh, I never heard of that one either. Let's look them up. If he's been on recently, I'm pretty sure I've seen it because I think I've typically when I'm doing my when I'm working on the over the weekends and I'm driving, I'm always listening to a podcast. Oh, I did see his I don't know, I kind of had a hard time following. I watched this episode, but I had a hard time following what he was saying. I don't know why. At least from the episode that I watched. I haven't watched it a lot, but now I see that he's got a channel in here, so I will. 4,500 subscribers. Okay, so I'm assuming he's pretty new then to the YouTube space, because I would think somebody that's been on Chart Fanatics and Words of Wisdom would be 100K subscriber. Which means he's real. He's a real deal. His style is similar to yours. Okay. I'm just telling you from the podcast that I watched. I don't know if you call it a podcast, but from the episode that I watched, I just, for some reason, I was having a kind of a hard time. Maybe my focus was somewhere else, but I was having a hard time really grasping nuts and bolts of it. And Q on the 3-minute chart. Okay. I really like the 2-minute, to be honest with you. I can really see the moves really good in the 2-minute. I don't think I've ever really been on the 3-minute much. Yes, I also like the 2-minute. Even though I'm on the 1-minute right now on the NQ because of the IB here, but I do like the 2-minute. And I watched a video. I don't. It was an old video. I honestly do not remember who it was, but he had a formula for the time frame of candle that he used that was pretty interesting. It was a weird number that's not really, like a 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 30, the standard time frame. It was this weird number that he had, and he did the math behind the reasoning to it, and it fit like in every single time frame, which was really crazy to think about it. But again, I mean, I don't know if he's a successful trader, or if he's not a successful trader. I don't really know anything else besides the video I watched, nor do I even know what time frame it was now, because it was such a weird interval. AP saying Akla. Let's see if that's it. Akla trading, maybe? His face looks familiar. Oh, yeah. So he's no, but his is not time frame based. That was crazy. His was the 70-20 or is it 80-20? I think it was the 80-20 method or 70-20 method, which again, I had a hard time following it too, but 80-20. The 80-20 and the 80-20 levels. Yeah. And I remember he only trades on his phone, which is also kind of crazy to me, but I guess that goes to show you that you don't need all the fancy stuff. So it wasn't him. No, it was a different guy because his face doesn't look like the guy that was telling me about that. It was some really crazy. It was some minute. It was on a minute based, but like it was like a minute and seconds or something like that. I don't know. It was nutty. But the way he laid it out, he did the math on it, and he's like, it fits into every single time frame, which I thought was pretty crazy. But again, I didn't look at it or. Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, that might be it. It's a third of a 10-minute bar, but I think there was even more. It was like fitting into like the 15, the 30. It was pretty crazy. Maybe that's it. And then a new guy popped up on my stream on my algorithm, which I'm taking a look at price action here as we get to the IB high. Pretty rangy day today, so might be a good market condition here for an IB trade. We haven't really popped our head up here in quite some time, so there's a new guy that popped up on my algorithm. Never seen him before yet. He's got a newer channel. He's got a very interesting approach to the market as well, with the opening with a 829 candle. He bases all his trades off of the 829 1-minute candle, the body of the candle, which he calls fair value price for the market. And he's looking to take rotations back into that from the top and the bottom side. Again, he's got great proof of payouts, but he's also, I was listening to or what the hell I was listening to, but he was talking about, like he invests $30,000 to $35,000 into evals a month, but he takes home 125,000. So I mean, it's a good return on investment, but I definitely don't want to be spending $30,000 on evaluations. I think it really becomes a game at that point, but it could be a profitable game, I guess, for somebody. Forest. I don't even know how I'm gonna find him. Let me see. Let's go to history's probably way back on him, probably at least a week. So history. Let's see if I can find something from him. And then they had that channel that backtests the strategy. No, JJ Simon is his name. Yeah, that's the guy. I made 1.3 million from prop firms. So his strategy is actually very simple. So if we go back to the 9, I say simple, but he also changes it a lot. So it's one of those kind of scenarios. So if we go to the 829 candle right here, you would say that this is fair value of the day right here from the body. This would be fair value. So what he's looking at is he's got a continuation trade that he trades to the upside. That probably he would not have gotten in. Well, he probably will. No. Yeah, he would have gotten in. Actually, no, he wouldn't have gotten in because he's all about break of structure, which again, I like that. So what he's looking at is that when they get a move to the upside, he believes that it's going to have a back to the fair value right here. So he would wait for a break of structure, and he's looking for a power candle to break structure. So like this wouldn't work because this had a big wick at the bottom. But like this guy, so he would have entered right here. He would have entered on this candle. And he would have had I think it's a 38-point stop, a 38-point take profit, and a 25-point stop, which I believe on this one, I know ETR was, he probably would have made it on this. Let's see, ruler. You would have gone in right there if you could, and let's see if you would have got stopped out. No. Yeah, so that would have been a successful trade right back into there. And I think he trades it until about 10:30 Central Time, or whatever it is, Eastern. So again, pretty interesting. A lot of ways of skinning, I guess, same cat. Yeah, I took a nice trade early this morning at about 7:40, live on stream. Probably should have been a $3,600 win, but I'm happy. And again, it's all a grand total of the funded accounts, so gotta keep it in perspective. Who else comes up on my stream besides Trader Rob? I think that's it. I'm actually I watch, I don't know if you guys watch Matt Armstrong. He's a guy that does those, he repairs the totaled like exotic cars. Anybody watch him? I'm addicted to that show. I watch every single episode with like the Bugatti, the Lambo, the Ferrari, the Porsche that he's done. I think the work that he does is incredible. So that guy's always on my feed. Who else? I got a lot of golf influencers. So I got the golf sidekick. I think he's hysterical. Bob Does Sports. I watch them. And the main guy, Grant Horvat. I also went down a rabbit hole of Alaska cabins, like building your own cabin in Alaska and like living off a grid. So that's in my that's also in my algorithm. But I really do not watch any TV. I watch like zero TV. The only thing I will truly watch is whatever interests me on YouTube. What do you guys think? Think we got a good bounce here off of the IB high? I feel like we do. I feel like we got a 20-point winner here today. I'd like to stretch it to 30, but I think 20 is... Oh, ATR's actually dropped down to 28. Yeah, I think 20 points is pretty... All right, started a fun poll. Will the IB high give us 20 points of profit today on the short? Probably only gonna have a few minutes before we possibly get into this trade here. So let's think about it. I don't know why. I kind of feel like the IB's got a shot here today. Bring this guy down to 20 points. We'll try to cut risk to the top of the flip candle. Hopefully we get the flip on the 30. If we get the flip on the 60, then I'm pretty much going to be risking the P&L of the day, which is okay. I mean, I'm not going into capital yet, but would rather prefer a 30 range flipperoonie here. Kind of a slow day here on the AVT, so if we can get a setup here on the IB high, we'll be happy with that. Oh, shoot. Thought I had this ready. It did not. Give me a second. Don't go without me just yet. Where is it here? Just one vote. Yes. One vote. Come on, there's a good amount of people watching. Just what's your thoughts? Think we can take a successful short off of the IB high here? My vote is yes. Oh, crapper. Oh, crapper. I did not have the IB set. Right. So this would be the IB right here. Dang-a-rooney. That was bad. Almost missed that one. Let's see if we get a flip here on the 30. Shoot. All right, we got one. Let's see. Bring this down to about 8 points. Let's see if we can get about 20 points here profit. And let's get a little move here. I'm going to drop it down to 10 points of profit here if I can. No, I missed it. Dang it. Dangerang. Man, I was just about to do that too. Let's see if we get a bounce here. Okay, break even. And I'm already getting stopped out. Now I get stopped out. Man, I was 2 seconds away from taking it out at the 10 points, just putting my stop, because I had set my break even at 10 points, but dang, that sucked. That sucked. I think it gave you, let's see, did it give you 15 points? I don't know if I saw 15 points, which would have been my normal normal TP. 13.75. Oh, dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. So close. That would have been nice. Just even 10 points there, I would have gotten myself to 30 points for the day. Probably been at about 2,600 in profit, maybe 2,800 in profit. But that's okay. We tried. I mean, you still wouldn't be out of this trade because my stop was right here. You still would have been in it if you had the Weibos. But typically when I see a flip like this, you know, I want to see some nice price action here. Which it did. We did get violent. It got violent here for a second. Like I said, we were hovering right around here. I was already on the figure. Okay. All right, good non-trade. Or a good protection of capital, I guess I should say. So all of you that voted yes, we were incorrect. No's were winners. And the 60 gave us a flip too. So take a look at the 60. 60 gave us a flip right here too, for that added piece of confluence as well. So, in hindsight, the break even was a good move. All right, now let's see on this little leg. Let's see first of all where we are in relation to the rest of the world. Okay, so we finally broke structure up here, right? Got a little bit more structure to go up there. Got a great area right here to take a short from. Yeah, and I don't know how long it's going to take us to get there. But again, looking at this price action movement leading out of this area, not the absolute greatest. Let's go down to the 2 minute here. Or I should say, let's go up to the 2 minute. Yeah, it's not the greatest. Not the greatest for unbalanced volume, considering we've been sitting in this consolidation here. Let's see. Yeah. I think it was 20 grand. I think it was 20 grand for the Bugatti oil change, but that video came out, or it came out on my feed yesterday. The latest feed is making booze at home, dirt cheap. I do have a friend that makes wine at home. I don't want to tell him all the time, but it doesn't taste very great. I don't think he watches my stream anyways, but it's not the greatest wine. I'm not really a wine drinker. I haven't really drank anything since like November, but let's see. I got TV just for World Cup. Okay. Todd Lewis got 10 points. All right, that was a good move there. So my typical TP on my IB has always been 15 points. 15 point stop, 15 point take profit. When I get a nice flip like that, I like to reduce my risk right to the flip. Because if we break the flip, unless it's like a sweep of like a point or two, we generally we're going in the opposite direction. Looks like they might be having some trouble here. I think if these bubbles were flipped around, we'd see a nice little reversal pattern there for those order flow traders. Yeah, you got slipped bad. I mean, you could see once I got in that trade, once I took the short there, price action it jumped, man. I'm like, oh, we've got TP, because this candle is super strong. And it came violently. That was probably a 4 or 5 second candle. At that point, I'm like, okay, we should have TP here in the bag, but we didn't. We were close, but close doesn't pay the bills. But at least we didn't lose any money. And you could always trade the retest of the IB high. Let's see if it looks like it's gonna fade. I just don't know. This market today just doesn't really look very. It doesn't look like it wants to explore a lot of new price discovery from some new unbalanced volume areas. Even though we do have a spot up here that looks fantastic. Nice little seller balanced volume area here at the 35.92 to the 35.71. I'm just not sure when we actually get there. So we'll see here. I'm not taking this trade at this point just because I know that we don't really seem like we're having a lot of big continuation movements out of trades. But we'll see. I will identify the setup if the setup presents itself here. So there's the tap. This is where I'd want to see negative delta, which I'm seeing. If we get a green footprint candle here, we should see a nice little pop right back to the upside. Good negative delta. Okay, so they broke through here. $60 range is still in play. $60 range hasn't closed out. Taking a look at the 60s, got a good negative delta on the 60. So let's see if that would be a situation where you could take a long there from that flip. Again, not a huge continuation trade market right now, but to say that was zero delta there. We're probably going to see a flip here on the 60. We do. So if I go back to the 60, and if I was trading this, I would have taken a long right here. On any other day, I would take a long right here. My stop, excuse me, my entry would be right here. My stop loss would be right here, and on the 60 range, I mean, at least a minimum of 15 points TP, because that's what your stop's going to be sitting at right around here. But we'll see if that how this works out here today. Again, I just don't see that. I don't see that umph in the market today. So my brother-in-law just texted me. He might be watching the stream. I don't know. But he's in a trade right now. He's up on a long position. He's up 35.92. Unrealized PNL. Let me see what let's see what he's trading. What ticker? You know, I think I should just invest into getting the data feed for the stock market for Ninja Trader. You need an additional feed for that. I've been kind of waiting for the single stock futures to finally go live. That's going to be super fun. That's going to be really fun. In fact, I keep telling him he still hasn't funded a futures account. Wow, look at that pump. That would have been a nice little, oh, I'm assuming headlines just came out, so just be very careful right here. But that flip would have been nice, huh? nice movement to the upside there. Holy shit. All right, so just be careful here because obviously we just had something come out because that was super aggressive. Be very careful here. Even though, again, if this was garbage headlines, we could, I want to see how this candle closes. Let's see if the market just retraces it within the same candle here, which they might do. Again, the market market makers do not like this type of price movement, okay? That's why the liquidity leaves. It's very inefficient for them. It's very inefficient to price, so they want to retrace all of this move. Now, if it's a real headline that's sustainable, then you'll just get price action that will just continue to fly. Still in software now and snow. I don't even know what ticker that is. All right, look at that. Lebanese official told U.S. that Hezbollah ready for full ceasefire with Israel, Axios reports. So again, that was a headlines news. Again, we take a long here on that 60 range flip. Good for you. You know, I mean, it was a great setup to go long, but and it would have worked out. You probably would have got slippage in your favor on that headline that came out. But again, little risk. And then the ugliness about this is that now this becomes kind of untradeable for me over here. So I'm still stuck with my thesis of, you know, a possible short setup from up here, which is what we'll kind of be looking at. And if it's, I don't really know the concrete nature of that headline that the Lebanese official, what Lebanese official said that, who the fuck knows? So there could be a very strong case for a rebalancing of, actually not this, let's not get fooled there. It's going to be somewhere around here that they kind of left unbalanced because they did retrace down all the way here. So they kind of rebalanced that, but this does make TPs a little bit more challenging over here. My original TP on that trade from up here would be down here at the 35.27s, and as you can see, that is a good amount of the volume that was here, which I believe was the point of control. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let's take a look. I think it was the point of control. No, it was the value area high. Okay, so that was a value area high, not the point of control. I thought it was point of control. Let's see if I'm not mistaken here. No, point of control is sitting down here. Okay. Let's get back down to the 30 range here. Again, we could get a pop here in the yellow, in the gold, I should say. We could get a pop. We could see a pop here to the downside. I would want to definitely see a flip in that regard. But I would much prefer if I get the flip in this region right here. Send my. And we do have this key level sitting here too. I forgot about that. We got this key level sitting here at the 35.36. So that might have to be somewhat. We might have to adjust this TP a little bit higher here, which again, I'd prefer the flip to be in the purple, in this purple area up here, but prefer and get are two different things sometimes. And I do have enough bullets for 2 entries here. Not taking away a lot of my... Oh, and there it is. There was the entry right there. Shit, that came quick. Fudge. Man, that came quick. Literally a tap right there, and got the delta flip. That came very, very fast. It did give us another possibility of an entry there. Come on. The buyers look like they are kind of beating this up here. All right, at this point, I'm going to try to stick to my original, waiting for that purple area that I identified, which would be our strongest area, unless TP gets hit here. Wouldn't like that scenario too much. But this would have been an entry right here. Right here. That would have been our entry to go short. Again, you're going to see some resistance right here. Risk to reward not the greatest from this gold box. Like I said, I would prefer to take this trade from the purple. Sometimes the market doesn't really give a shit what you really want. Like right here, I probably would be at break even. Just, you know, looking out for that bounce off that key level, which we're not going to get. It looks like we are going to go for that original TP. But I definitely would have been in break even here already. Shoot. That's not even 20 points there yet. All right, I'm okay with that. Let's see what it if we get a little bit of a retracement back into that area there. And again, one other thing too, this is hindsight, so take it for what it's worth. But this move, you know, if we don't have that headline that came out right now with the Lebanese official on the ceasefire with Israel and Hezbollah, if we don't have that headline here and we get some price action that looks like this, you know, I'm very interested. I'm extremely interested in the base of this move. I'd be very interested in, you know, possibly even taking this short right here. I would have preferred the short to come from this purple area, because now we kind of have to be a little bit careful on what they balance out here. You know, now a super aggressive play is to balance out this move right here. Again, I don't know how strong, how concrete that news headline that came out was, who the hell that Lebanese official was that even said that, but the market wants to balance this out as well. So we do have that in the horizon, but I need to get some type of entry here besides the one that the market already gave me. You know, market's probably saying, what else, what more do you need? In fact, this, I don't know if I was not paying attention, but like even on this one was even a better flip with more positive delta. So, my bad on that one. Okay, we see some buying pressure here on this candle, as you guys can see. And then if you guys look at the 60, a lot of positive delta coming in right here. So again, if this candle was to close red, which it does not, you know, that would just mean a lot of buying pressure, sellers still able to overcome that pressure and move the market still down, which is, to me, is a very good sign of a continuation to the downside. But so, I mean, you could see the same things in the candle that you do in the footprint. It's just how, you know, what looks a little bit easier to you to take a look at. Let's see if they break down all of this efficiency right here. Like I said, I think the only thing left that they had was like right here that they're probably going to want to clean out, which kind of sucks because it kind of takes away a decent or very overstretched TP from our area up there, but what are we going to do? All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it a morning here on YouTube. We'll continue on with my single members here for a little bit more, and I will see you guys tomorrow. If there is, again, if you're looking at any evals or any purchases, you can always use code TraderRob. I truly do appreciate it, and I look forward to trading with you guys tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody.